This is the Effing Business Podcast. You ask the questions, we answer.
So the question, as I understand it, is how does our core values affect our company on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, but also like on a separate note, meaning you could have your own personal core values or morals or personality.
And how does that affect?
And then a company has its own personality, values, and morals and so on.
Okay, so I think...
One, are they separate? And two, what are yours and what...
I don't think they should be separate, but sometimes, depending on the people who work in your company, they kind of create their own culture, and that could be good or that could be bad, and that can play against the culture you have set out, right? So I think that the culture that we set out for at Bulldog Adjusters is to provide value to our clients. It's something that I think we're constantly trying to work on and try to improve and try to make the experience better. But I think we're a value-based company. So I think that when we have employees, specifically employees who handle the clients who don't see it that way, that gets in the way of achieving our goal. Does that make sense?
Our goal, but is that our culture? Like, our culture is to bring value to our clients, but that's not really our goal. That's what's our culture, right?
You have an idea of what you want your culture to be.
Right.
And then that's defined really by the people who work there, right? It's like when you go to school, right? Mm-hmm. The school has a reputation and they have a history and they have a curriculum, but the students' behavior ultimately determines the culture of that year. Faculty can't really control it, or there's only so much they can do about that. And I think it's the same thing as a company. So when you have enough employees, you have good employees, and you have employees that aren't good, and you figure out a way to weed them out and stick to the culture. And if you get the right people, they help define the culture that you want and maybe even improve and take that further than you had even intended in a positive way.
All right, so also let's talk about, like, second part of that question or follow-up to that question is company values, company culture, and then company personality, right? So a company has like a culture within itself that operates, right? The culture is like how it operates, and then how people perceive that operation is
like Uber.
Is like that personality, right? So like you're a I don't want to be on camera kind of guy, or you've come a little bit further than you used to.
Yeah,
be.
you put the camera in my face at any opportunity you have.
Yeah, that's my goal. But you're a kind of guy that doesn't like to be in front of the camera, and a lot of people don't. But
You're the kind of guy who doesn't like not to be in front of the camera?
Yeah, but as a company, you think we should be on the camera, we should be in front of people, we should be more out there.
Absolutely.
As an outgoing person or outgoing company.
Correct.
Right, so like coming from you really, to be honest, why do you see the difference? And how does that operate in your head? Like, is it a business personality versus a personal personality? Or do you see it that way? Or you just think like to be a company, to be a known entity, you have to be known and seen out there and so on. It's just logical.
Correct. We had this conversation last week about attention. We need to grab people's attention. I just don't want to be the specific person to do that.
Right.
I think lately there's been a trend where you do
of CEOs getting out there more.
Yeah.
You have Tim Cook. You have the guy from T-Mobile. I don't know his name.
Is Tim Cook on the Apple commercials?
He's on the commercials, but he does all the the presentations.
Okay, that I understand, but
Right,
he doesn't do the entire presentation. Like different people in the departments.
Right.
Right.
But the guy from T-Mobile's very active.
Correct. It's always
and
been...
that company actually changed when he got more active.
Right. He totally transformed.
And he just said, you know what? I need to break.
He's very brash.
I need to break myself.
Right.
And instead of being a hard ass in the office, I'm going to be a crazy outside person and show the company for who we are and what we are and our values, which are then my values and so on.
I'm all for that. I just have never been the person who wants to do that myself. I'm for the idea of operating that way. I just never been the person who wants to be on camera, as you put the camera in my face right now, to be the one doing that.
There's been a camera on you the whole time.
I know. You switch it back and forth between me and you, I see.
So I think our company is value-based to clients and content as well. Like, what are we bringing this to the outside viewer and the consumer? Are they getting some value out of this? Maybe it's not value to everyone, or maybe it's not value today, but it could be valuable to them tomorrow. I
think that the closest analogy is your company's going to be like your child, right? That's the closest thing. Mm-hmm. You put time into your child, you put time into your company. So your children are going to reflect your personality to some degree. Right? And I think that your company, specifically when you're still very involved in running it on a regular basis, is going to reflect your personality, the good parts and the bad parts. The things you're not good at doing, it's going to show up, and unfortunately your company, if you don't compensate for it correctly, your company's going to be poor at that. And the things you're good at doing, your company's going to...
And that's probably a lot of the struggle when you have partners. When you have partners that have different mindsets and different viewpoints and so on, you have that push and pull constantly with them, where their values or their personalities are pulling the company one way, and the vice versa is pulling it and wanting it to go the other way, and eventually there's going to be a breaking point down the road, if it's not today, down the road, where, hey, I don't think it needs to go there, and F you, let's break up, or whatever it is.
Correct.
And that's how
100%. I think the reason why we've been able to be partners for 9 years is because we fight. Like if we didn't fight, it would just be like this passive buildup that wouldn't get resolved. So
a lot of times I just let all right, you know what? Let him fail, watch this fail, and it won't happen, and we'll learn from that, or he'll learn from that. Like listen to me next time. And I think that was also a little part of our breaking point as a partnership. Is like a lot of things I said. Correct me when I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
I said a long time. He was like, he thought he was the smartest person on the planet. I know everything.
And Vince wanted me to recognize he was the smartest person on the planet.
Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Go do this. Like, okay, buddy, we'll watch what happens. And slowly but surely, it took, time, but tides have turned.
I don't think it's just the tides have turned. I think we fight a lot, even the things that we...
No, but I'm saying...
Even historically, even things like where there's a question like if this works or that works.
Right.
So...
You ever find those paperwork you lost in that contract?
The one you left in the client's...
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Nobody's going to get that reference. So, no, I think that when I was little, somebody told me that he picked me up from school with a couple other guys. Like, in the car, we were, like, beating each other up. And then, like, by the time he dropped us off, like, we had been making plans for the next day. Right? And he's like, wow, that's how boys operate. They just kind of fight and then they go their other way. And I think that's what Vince and I do well. We argue. Sometimes it gets heated. We kind of come to a solution and we go from there.
It always comes back to like that. Like if we're on the same core value like page, like it makes it a lot easier because like we're arguing about things that both matter to us, but it's not going to shake the bedrock, right? It's not going to change our company overall. There are core decisions, but because we're very much on the same page on those core things that we want our company to be, they're like micro decisions that we're arguing about. We have a difference of opinion, but like core value wise, I believe we're both on the same page.
What's actually funny is over time, our positions have switched to the other person's role. There'll be times I'll say, Vince, you're acting like me, and he'll say the same thing, right?
Right, like we've almost like convinced each other of like both our opinions.
Right, like he's moved all the way to my side, and I've moved all the way to his side, and now like we're like almost like embodying the other person and arguing. And like, wait, but this is the argument Vince used to make. I was against this. Now I'm for it and he's against it.
I've convinced him so much that he just...
And vice versa.
Yeah. As partners, having the same core values is the crucial part. When you don't have that, then every argument hits bedrock.
Yeah, it's an ego argument.
Exactly. And it just hits bedrock and it hits the whole idea of your company and the ideology and the morals and the values and everything you are as a company now becomes an argument. And he doesn't believe this and he doesn't believe that and he's wrong about this and he's wrong about that. It's just he said, she said, back and forth about everything. And it's not just the one decision you're arguing about. Like we don't have decisions that then arguments about one decision and then it leads to another one and another one and another one and another one. Like it's that one, it's settled, it's fixed, whatever, whoever won that battle wins, usually me. And then we move on, right?
I think yes, but I think also like making Vince think he won is like important too, right? Like I don't always feel like I have to come out like winning as long as I get what I want. So like making Vince feel like he's won is also very important.
It is very important.
I unfortunately take the wife position there and I'm not thrilled with it.
My father told me you can do two things for children. You can either give them roots or wings, and that's it.
What does that mean?
So you can either ground them or you can just let them fly, right? We've given our baby here full reign. Like they've learned from us, they know what to do. We've taught them everything we know.
But it didn't start that way.
No, it didn't start that way. But everything that you see around us is just replacements of ourselves constantly. And as much as we can do in certain specialties and things like that, we're never going to be able to do so. I'll just hire the person that knows how to do it. But there's people that just replace us completely. I think that's the idea of you give people. There's certain people in our company that keep us grounded, that are ground kind of children, and you can have multiple children in your organization within your baby, let's say, right? That are the people who ground your company, and then the people that push it forward and let it fly. And I think we have multiple people at both those positions.
Correct. I think the key is finding the people who are going to help you fly. Right, like
you have to have the grounded kids, though. If you don't have the grounded kids, you just have a whole bunch of birds flying around.
Correct. You need both. There's definitely a balance, but it's always been my goal to hire, regardless of the position, to hire somebody who could be a manager or could be the next manager. So this way, when there's a vacancy, you don't have that issue. People come and go, and we're always stuck when we actually have a role that's vacant and we don't have somebody to fill it easily. I think that's one of our challenges now, right? So when we had 4 employees, it wasn't so hard when there was turnover. When you have 30 employees, it's a lot harder when people come and go, and you're like, wait, that position's hard to hire for. So my goal is, even if we're not hiring somebody for a managerial role today, let's find the person who can be that, so that when the manager does leave or move on or take on a different role, that person can fill the gap or do other things as we grow.
Right.